Welcome to the Silvers Connection. I am Ernie Silvers, your host. Thank you for being here. Hey, I want to hear from you. I want you to drop me an email at mba@csusb.edu. That's mba@csusb.edu. I hear from you. I want to comment, maybe a subject matter, maybe a guest selection. Give me some feedback on how we're doing here. Also, while we're at it, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any of the next episodes coming up. And today, we're going to be talking about the 5 myths of self-care. I think the self-care topic is amazingly important and relevant, especially now, with all of us returning or trying to return back from COVID or doing something. They've been shut down, locked down. So I have brought in an expert on the topic. I have brought today Miss Jessica Villalobos as my guest. She is a lifestyle medicine consultant. We'll be talking about that because I have no idea what that means. She is a business mentor and a yoga instructor. That's all 3 in one. That's pretty amazing, Jessica. Jessica is a national board certified health and wellness coach, as well as a nutritionist focused on plant-based nutrition and evidence-based lifestyle medicine. That sounds cool. Jessica offers integrative health and well-being coaching practice with a focus on career moms. Moms out there, this could be dads too, maybe, huh? Because now we're all sharing things. With the belief that when we follow lifestyle, passion, and purpose, when those 3 align, we can truly flourish. And that is amazing. Jessica is also a coach who coaches coaches, which is pretty cool, right? So she not only does it, but she coaches it, she teaches it, see? So that's pretty cool as well. But here's the best part. She's a Cal State alum. She's an MBA alumna. That is the best. So without further ado, Jessica, welcome to the Silvers Connection.
Thank you. Thank you
good
so
to
much.
have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today. It's a real pleasure.
Fun. So you've been away from campus for a little while. I think things may have changed. I don't know. You haven't been gone that long, but you have been very busy. So help us first and foremost understand, Jessica, what is a lifestyle medicine consultant? Help us know what that is exactly.
Absolutely. So lifestyle medicine is really based on evidence-based practices, things that we know that if we have good behaviors around these things, it's going to contribute to a better lifestyle, which means better well-being. So lifestyle medicine, there's a few different pillars. It includes diet, movement, stress management practices, proper sleep, and then of course, avoiding substances, that sort of thing. So,
substances, don't do those.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what my practice is really founded upon, those pillars of lifestyle medicine.
So it's a well-rounded approach to, if you balance these things, figuratively speaking, or at least get them better in a line, you will be able to perform better and have a better career, better life, just enjoy yourself much more. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And just when you again practice good behaviors around these things, self-care, you can truly be your best self.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about sleep for a minute, because you mentioned sleep, and that's always my favorite. Sleep's overrated, right? You don't really need a lot of sleep, right? Is that right? Is that what that's not what you practice? Talk about sleep.
You would think so. I mean, I when I was in school, I was operating under the mentality of I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? I was so busy. Yeah, I mean, with classes, and I was working full time for part of the time that I was in school. And we don't really realize what a detriment it's creating for us when we don't get sleep. So, when you have short sleep, and that's anything under 6 hours, that's when you start to experience a drop in your productivity. Obviously, your energy levels, you'll have a hard time remembering things, that sort of thing. So we really don't want to be skimping on our sleep. So for adults, I say that 7 to 8 hours is what you should shoot for. If you need to pull an all-nighter, don't do that, but get at least 6 hours of sleep so that you're keeping your cognitive function up.
Okay, so sleep is good for the brain. It allows the brain to reboot, if you will. Is that right? Is that how that works?
Yeah, and not only your brain, but your entire body function. Okay, so especially right now with COVID, you want to keep your immune functioning up, and so sleeping is really going to help to support that, and just a whole number of things. Obviously recovery from working out, and as you said, brain health.
Yeah, brain health, because that's usually what happens. We get foggy brained and we can't think. it caused me, I'm gonna have to go backwards just a little bit now because something you said caused me to go, oh, darn it, I need to ask her about that. Talk for a moment about your path as a student, because you were working and you were a student, and kind of lead us from that and how you got where you are. Because your MBA was with a concentration in entrepreneurship, right?
That's
Yeah. So, and
correct.
you are now, you are an an entrepreneur, and you're pretty busy. So how was your student path, and how did it take you here?
Okay. Yeah, as you said, I had an emphasis in entrepreneurship. Both my parents are were entrepreneurs, and so I grew up in that type of household, and that entrepreneurial spirit was in me from an early age. And so that's what got me into the MBA program at CSUSB. And when I started the program, I was working full time. I wouldn't say that it was my dream job at the time, but it was paying the bills, that kind of thing. And when I started, I entered under the thinking that I want to do this as fast as possible. I'm on this fast track. I want to, start my own business. I want to soak up everything that I can learn in as little time as possible. So I took, I think it was like 12 credits my first quarter. Yeah. And working full time. So I was working an 8-hour day in an office, and then hightailing it off to my classes that were in the evening. And I was up late studying for exams, writing papers, the whole 9 yards, right? And when I finished that first quarter, I was simply burnt out. I couldn't carry that load, and I wasn't going to give up school. I'd worked too hard to be there, and that's where I wanted to be. And so I made the decision to let go of my full-time job at the time, and focus solely on school. Again, just having that, I want to do this as quick as possible. And mind you, I was a lot younger. I didn't have the same responsibilities I have now. But looking back, there's just no way if I had those responsibilities then, or if I were going to school, if I had gone to school right now, there's just no way that I would be able to quit. And so when I look back, what was really missing was that sense of balance between school, between work, between life, right? Obviously wasn't getting the sleep that I needed to support my brain functioning. I was always tired, that kind of thing. And so from that experience, and obviously from my experience in school, I took that learning, and I really immersed myself in learning about wellness. I've always kind of had a passion for wellness. I've always been someone that enjoys, movement and yoga in particular. And so I took my studies a little bit further. I became board certified. I completed a program in health and wellness coaching. Got a certification in yoga teaching, and so that's where I am today. I take all of these modalities, and that's the basis of my health coaching practice, to help the mothers that I work. That's my client base are mothers that are kind of in the same shoes as I am. You're working a lot, you've got little ones, and you need to find a way to balance it all. And a lot of these mothers are also discovering their purpose. And so with my business background, I also help to coach them with business mentorship, getting up and running, that sort of thing. So that's sort of been my journey up to this point. A lot going on.
I can tell you that based on what you've just told us, you are normal for an excessive compulsive crazy grad student. So at that time, that's what you're perfectly normal. And you've always been a bit of an overachiever, right? I mean, it sounds like, oh my goodness, you always went all in.
Yeah. I'm a perfectionist to a fault. And even to this day, I have to just remind myself that it's about progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection. Exactly right. Listen to us carefully. Don't watch us too closely. Progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
Okay, that is awesome. All right, so let's get into the meat of the topic here. We're talking about the 5 myths associated with self-care. First of all, before we get started with that, help us understand, just give us a general flyover. What is self-care other than what it sounds like? Self-care. What is self-care?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's taking care of yourself. Okay. And everyone needs it. everything from like your basic human needs, like eating and sleeping and drinking water, to things that are going to support that, like getting in proper movement, making sure that you're not sitting too much, which unfortunately we do a lot these days. And yeah, just really supporting your overall well-being through good lifestyle habits.
Is it natural for us to do this? Or I mean, you say self-care, it almost sounds a little selfish or something self-serving. Is it natural for us to do that, to take care of ourselves?
You would think, but a lot of us think that self-care is selfish, and that's one of the myths of self-care, is that it's selfish, and it absolutely isn't. Everyone deserves to take care of themselves. You know, you take care of those around you. You know, if you're a parent, you take care of your kids. If you have, elderly, you take care of them. So why not treat yourself in the same way, taking care of
Yeah.
yourself, taking care of your needs?
Yeah, it's like that. I think we discussed this in the pre-show, the little announcement when you get on an airplane, if the little mask falls out of the ceiling, put
Yes.
your mask on first, self-care
Mhm.
before you help others. And we don't always do it that way. We want to be out helping people, and then we burn out and we don't know what's wrong with us. So the first myth is that self-care takes too much time. So one, it's not selfish. We need to do it. It's like maintaining anything that we have, and you only get one body, right? And when that one wears out, you're kind of messed up. So you have to take care of it. But the first myth is it takes too much time, Jessica. How am I going to do it? It takes too much time. And you never heard that before, right?
I hear that all the time. And yeah, it's that's an absolute myth, because self-care can be as simple as remembering to brush your teeth in the morning. And I
Oh,
say that because
every day? Every day you're going to do that?
you know what, I'm a mom of two little ones, and especially early on in their life, I mean, you get to the middle of the day and realize I haven't even taken the time to brush my teeth. So just like you would take 2 minutes out of your day to brush your teeth and not even think about doing it, that's how self-care should be. And it's obviously a practice. So if you aren't doing some of these things, like, movement, getting the proper amount of sleep, it's going to take time to practice it and to make it a part of your routine. But it doesn't have to take a lot of time. It doesn't need to take hours on end. You don't need to spend an hour in a yoga class. It literally can be just taking a couple of deep breaths at your desk. It could be standing up if after you've been sitting for a couple of hours. All of this is self-care.
Something I do, I've just started this. I'm practicing this to see if it's of any value. I set the timer on my watch for 25 minutes, right? And when it goes off, I have to stop and consider, what am I doing? How long have I been doing this? How long have I been on my butt? Get up, right? So just something, and it runs all day long. Kind of drives me crazy. But the reminder to do something, and should we make a list? I mean, I'm not being facetious, but is it necessary, maybe when you're first thinking about the things you want to do, to maybe make a list of things you want to pay attention to? Is that possible?
I think that's a good practice, because just like anything else in life, sometimes you need a gentle reminder. And there's no need to make a long list. You can just focus on one thing a day, and then once you master that, then you can add something else to your list.
Right.
But I think, I mean, like you mentioned, setting a timer to stand, that's a wonderful practice to remind yourself that, I need to take a break from this. This is going to be here when I return. Let me just take a moment to stand up, maybe get some fresh air, take a small walk, and then I can return to this feeling refreshed and maybe inspired.
Yeah. Sometimes calendaring or scheduling things on the calendar, maybe that helps us, or setting meeting minders or something. Whatever you have to do to be successful,
Absolutely.
I think you should do it. So it really doesn't take too much time. You just have to do it. But I'm gonna ask you about the D word here, and that's discipline. That's a major part, because it's okay, I can do things one day, okay, maybe two. All right, I got a whole weekend, and then boom, it goes. The weekend comes, I'm toast, I'm done. I don't do that anymore. I just forgot. How do we practice, or how do we instill the discipline to do this?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's I think discipline goes back to kind of setting goals for yourself. And as we know, there's SMART goals. We want to make sure that it's something that it's attainable for you, something that's realistic, something that's time bound. Okay, so if you want to start with that one thing that you want to focus on, set a goal, like an end goal. By the end of this week, I want to be doing this activity at least once a day. Okay, make sure that it's something that you know that you can achieve, but with a little bit of challenge. If it's something like standing, like you were talking about, maybe it's just I want to stand up for 2 minutes every hour and a half or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be a huge goal. It can be something small and only for a certain amount of time, because you want to make sure that it's something that you can stay consistent at. And then when you get to the end of the week and you've seen that you've been able to do this over the course of the week, you've now built up your confidence, and you can now build onto that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's it for most of us, especially those who are obsessive compulsive. I have to do, the goals have to be so lofty, but they really don't. Do one push-up, stand up a couple times, drink one cup of, just do something. You can't do it all, but you can do something. Start doing that. Right. Okay. So it doesn't take too much time. We've established that. And if you had to pick one thing that I should start with my practice, let's just say, because we don't, really know each other, and you don't know my habits, and you probably would interview your client and you would have an answer for this, you would already say, but what's one thing that we should put towards the top of our list if we're going to practice one thing on a daily basis?
I would say sleep. Sleep is the big thing. If you already are getting sleep, then integrate a stress management practice. And so stress management could be breathing, like I talked about, just taking a couple of breaths before you get into a really high stress activity. That you'd be surprised that exhale can really ground the body and activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Right.
So that's a really, and anyone can do that, and you can do it anywhere. You could be in traffic, you could be in the midst of something really stressful, and you can breathe and no one will even notice. So that's another good
breathing a little deeper than normal, because shallow breath sends a different signal to that nervous system, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Shallow breathing suggests what?
That's less when you're in that kind of fight or flight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So there's that stress. So if you want to create stress, start shallow breathing. They'll do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So taking those deep belly breaths from the diaphragm is what
once in a while.
What we mean.
Yeah. That's easy enough. We can do that. All right. Breathe for Jessica, please. Breathe. So number 2 is, it costs too much. I don't have time to do this. I can't afford a coach. What am I going to do? Why does it cost too much? It doesn't cost too much. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think that there's this thought that self-care means getting a massage every week or getting.
Okay. Well, sign us up.
Yeah, and that is self-care, but you don't have to do that. That self-care, as I said, can mean a number of things, and it could be the smallest things. So no, with self-care, I say that it shouldn't cost you money. It should be all habits that start with you. And these are all things that you can do on your own from home, or from anywhere for that matter. But it absolutely doesn't need to be to be costly at all.
So you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of equipment or a membership, or you don't have to go out and hire a coach, but you should. And if you do, you should hire Jessica. And but meaning that you just need to start the practice. And as you grow and develop, then you may wish to invest a little more time, energy, money, whatever. But initially, it doesn't cost to get started. Is that what we're saying?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And with self-care, I say, so there's 3 things. So there's self-care daily. So those are things that you need to be doing every day. So sleep, proper nutrition, water, those kinds of things. And then the second thing is having a support system. Okay. Those are, surrounding yourself with those that are non-judgmental, that are going to support you, that can be someone that you can vent to if you need to. And that's something that should be done once weekly. So if you have a chance to check in with some of your buddies or some family members, do that at least once weekly. And then the third thing is services, and that would fall in line with something like a massage. And services can be done on like a monthly basis. So, those 3 things, if you're doing those at that frequency, then you're on the right track to self-care.
Interesting. Okay. And you mentioned, you hit on the topic here, finding people that are non-judgmental who will support you. Right. That seems to be a big deal, because there's lots of people that will throw rocks at your house and judge you. Right. Because they're jealous, really. You're doing it and I'm not, therefore you're bad. Let me tell you how bad you are. So that is a big deal. Finding people that will actually support what you're doing and not take you away from what you're trying to do, because you're trying to change here and change for the better. And in doing that, you need to be supported. not
Exactly.
criticize. So we want to get those people. Some people in your life need to be fired, right? They need to be fired,
Exactly.
and that's
Yeah.
okay. So
And
find
that
some
is okay.
people. Yeah, that is okay. Okay. We talked about this one a little bit already, but that self-care is selfish. We talked about it a little. Why? It's not selfish. That's number 3. Self-care is not selfish.
Hmm.
Take it away.
Yeah, it's especially for moms. I'm going to speak from the mom standpoint again for
You do
the
that because
that.
I can't hold that position very well.
Yeah, so there's this guilt associated with taking the time for yourself and engaging in self-care because it sounds like this luxurious thing that, I
Right.
need to be, in a bathtub with cucumbers on my eyes. It's not that. It's again taking care of yourself.
Right.
And so there's no need to feel guilty. There's no need to feel like it's selfish because everyone needs self-care. When you're taking care of yourself, you actually are taking care of everyone else because then you're able to show up at your best self for all
Mhm.
of those roles that you play in your life. And so when on the flip side, if you're not doing it, you're going to show up, grouchy, low on energy, your productivity is going to fail. So you're really helping everyone. You're helping all of the roles within your life.
Yeah. It's a matter of taking care of the equipment, if you will.
There, yeah,
Right.
there you go.
If you play a sport, you take care of your equipment. If you're a mechanic, you take care of the tools. If you're into cars, you take care of the car. But you have to take care of the body, right? Treat it like a
Absolutely.
temple, not a tent, right? And take care of it because, and again, going back to, you can't perform at your optimal if you don't feel well, if you don't look well,
Correct.
right? You can't take care of others long or well if you don't feel well. So how can it be selfish when you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of others? It's quite the opposite, which I think is important for us to remember,
Hmm.
right? You
Yeah.
can't show up at your best if you don't give you first shot, I guess. All right, number 4, self-care is hard to implement. Number 4, is that true?
No, it's not. I
Ah,
mean, we've been talking about this for a long time, and it's simple. It's from taking deep breaths. It's from making the better choice when you have two options to choose
mhm.
from. If you have a salad, if you have a burger, choose a salad. That you're going to take care
Oh
of
my
yourself and your
goodness,
body.
seriously? Oh, Jessica, please. All right,
I know some people don't want to hear that, but yeah, or even choosing water over juice. Okay, you can
right.
make your water palatable by adding lemon to it. So it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, from the simplest things, it's something that anyone can do, and with small tools within your home and within reach.
Yeah. So we are the result of our choices. I love, I can't remember where I have seen these, perhaps on the internet because everybody lives on the internet, but it's a choose this, not that
Hmm.
type of
Hmm.
thing. And really it is a matter of choices. You don't have to be bulletproof. You don't have to be perfect. We talked about that in the beginning of uh, just make progress, not perfection. So even if you do a little bit, right, that's fine. And you take baby steps. Baby steps.
Exactly.
You can't change it
Exactly.
all in one day. It didn't take you a week to get here. It's going to take you a little longer than a week to get out of here. So baby steps and just make
Absolutely.
choices. And I,
Hmm.
I find too that once we start into the discipline habit and making choices on some things, you start wanting to make choices on other things too,
Yes.
and you build momentum, right? Progress.
Hmm.
And if make different choices sometimes and treat yourself, that's probably okay as long as it's not a habit, right? So it is easy to implement if you take your time,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
And everyone has the time, even if you think that you don't have the time. Like I said, take 2 minutes to brush your teeth. That's self-care. That counts.
Yeah, gold star for you. Okay, number 5, self-care isn't for everyone. That's interesting. Explain that one.
Yeah. So there's this stigma behind self-care that it's only for the females. And, when you bring it up with men, it's like, oh, I don't need that. It's just not for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk to my husband. Yeah,
It's
he's
not
one of
it's
them.
not manly enough. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that again, going back to thinking that it costs money, thinking that you need to be luxuriating in expensive products and getting high-end services.
Mhm.
I think that's contributed to this idea that self-care is only for certain types of people or certain people who need it. But the fact is everyone needs it. Everyone needs to take care of themselves. And
Right.
so I would say, no, if you're human, you need self-care.
Let me ask you this now. I'm imagining that younger people, let's say, and I'm going to swing at this. You may have a better opinion, but say people under 30. Okay, just
Mhm.
trying to put mark. People under 30 are thinking, I don't need to do that. Look at me. I'm young. I'm gorgeous. I don't have time. I don't need that. I'm young. Is that fact or fiction?
It's
Come on,
no.
coach. Which is
I was an under 30 at one point, and I operated under that notion that
Mhm.
I didn't need to take care of myself right now because I'm still young and I'm healthy. But no, like all of these bad choices that we're making, they're compounding over
Yeah.
time.
It's like
And
interest. It compounds, and eventually one day
exactly.
you're not 20 anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and it's important to start young too, because you're going to develop those habits and it's going to be easier for you to implement over time. And you want to live nice and long and healthy. So for those under 30, start taking care of yourself now if you aren't already. It's absolutely critical.
So ideally, we're building a lifestyle, right? This is
Hmm.
just how I do it. And if you start early, then you build that lifestyle and you kind of get into it as opposed to trying to create it or imagine it or wonder what in the hell went south, when you get into your 40s, 50s, or whatever, that age
Hmm.
where your body says, I'm not 20 anymore,
Hmm.
right? So we're trying to build a lifestyle, right? Is that what we're
Exactly.
after? So
Yeah.
it is for everyone, regardless of age. We all need it, right? And the longer
Mhm.
you wait, the more difficult it is. Is that a fair observation? The longer you wait, the more difficult it is.
I I don't want to say that, but I say that, as you get older, maybe you have more responsibilities in life, and then it makes it harder to take the time, or you perceive it to take be harder. But you do want to do it when you're young, when you are vibrant and healthy, because then you
Hmm.
have the energy to do things like, getting in movement every day. So yeah, it's so important to start now, and no matter what age you are, because
Wherever
you
you
want to
are,
build, yeah, you want to build those habits for the long haul.
it's never too late. Get started. Why or when, Jessica, would somebody consider a coach? When would a mom come to you, or is there a defining moment where you say, I can't do this. I need some assistance? When do they come to you?
I think everyone and anyone can use coaching. Coaches need coaching too. I have a coach myself. Okay, so no one's perfect, right? And what a coach does is they partner with you and really help to collaborate and find what it is that works for you, and use your strengths to get to where it is that you want to be. What I will say is that when you are at a point where you want to work with a coach, you should ensure that you're actually coachable, okay? Because a coach can only work with you if you're willing to, go on that journey with them. So while, when you are a client, you're in the driver's seat, you're steering in the direction that you want to go. The coach is in the driver's seat with you. So if I'm there holding the map and I'm helping to guide you, and you're not willing to work with me, it's not going to work. So
You
that's,
can't be coached.
yeah, so that's what I say about coaching. Everyone could use it. And when you work with a coach, they're really going to stay aligned with your values. They're not going
Mhm.
to tell you what to do. If you ask for education, they'll provide you with that education, but they're not going to, pull you, pull you by the hand and tell you, you need to do this, you need to go this way. They are going to work with what it is that is important to you, and work with the values that are important to you in your life.
Yeah, yeah. That's now. Why aren't we coachable? Those of us who aren't coachable, why aren't we coachable? Is it a pride issue? Is it what is it? In your experience, what have you discovered? I'm sure
Mhm.
you've run into folks in your travels who are just not coachable.
Well, luckily, I haven't run into too
You
many.
haven't? Oh, well, you're
No, I
looking at one
haven't.
now.
Well, sometimes in health practice, you are referred to a coach, and
Okay.
if and that at that point you're being told to do that. And so if you're
Right.
doing it because someone else is telling you, it's not going to work. You need to come at it from a place of being intrinsically motivated. You don't want to be motivated by an external factor that's telling you need to do this or else. And so that's what I mean when I say you need to be coachable and be willing to do the work, because it's not, it's not an easy journey.
Mhm.
You're going to rely on your own strengths. So you need to have that intrinsic motivation that's going to take you from where you are now to where you want to be.
Mhm. So there's a lot of things that you can do on your own, as we've talked about. It doesn't take too much time. It doesn't cost too much money. So there's a lot of things you can do on your own to get yourself going. And it's possible you may not ever get at a place where you think you need a coach, but if you want to elevate your current performance or your level, and you don't know how to get that, or you hit a plateau, that's when you say, I need some assistance here. Somebody's got to help me move forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jessica's up.
Yeah. And when you choose a coach, look at their background, look at their specialization, because if there's an area of specialization, like for me, I'm a big proponent of a plant-based diet. And so people come to me for that. And because that's something that they are interested in themselves. But if you're someone else that maybe you are on a keto diet, or that's something that you want to do, then working with me might not work for you. So, in that sense, do your due diligence, find a coach that kind of has the same values as you, or at least are in the same direction as you want to go. And that's going to really help.
So when someone first contacts you, I'm sure there's an interview that you have, or a conversation to see if the goals align. Is that how it happens? I mean,
Yeah,
for those of us who have never approached a coach, I mean, what do we do? First of all, coaches are scary. I mean, just look at this face. Doesn't she look scary right now? And so how do we approach the coaching entity? What's that look like? How's that work?
Yeah. So when you first talk with a coach, they'll have an intake process. Okay. So some of that entails like an assessment to see kind of like a baseline where it is that you're at, but then also to find out where it is that you want to be. And so usually in the first session, we talk about, what your long-term goals are, talk about what you value. And then as much as it is for me to see if I'm the right fit for you, you want to see, if it's a good fit, if I'm a good fit for you, right? It's a
Right.
a
It works
two-way
both
street.
ways.
Exactly.
Yeah. It takes two to dance, and the better the pairing, the better it works.
Exactly.
Right. Right. Yeah. I understand that completely. So you should be careful and have a conversation and not race into something and just say, hey, is this going to work? Is this the coach for me? And how are you going to help me? So, all right. So we've chosen you as a coach, and then what's the first things that you do?
Well, yeah. So again, we have that initial session, and then if you decide that you want to work with me, and I agree
Right.
that
Now
it's a
we're on
good
the
fit.
next date now. What's happening?
Yeah.
Are
So
you
this is
putting on the drill sergeant voice and tonality and screaming at me, or
no.
no?
Yeah, so what I like to do is learn more about where you are right now. Okay, so what's working, what's not, what have you been successful with in other areas, or maybe in past experiences that you can now lean on to help you go forward to this new goal that you want
Mhm,
to set.
mhm. Okay, and then we just work up from there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a process and a framework that we follow. We then kind of design a process together in terms of what goals make sense, small goals too, and they build upon one another week by week until you reach that end goal. And then, it's up to you then if you want to work on a new goal, or if you maybe want to challenge yourself with that goal and do something a little bit bigger.
Do I need a coach forever and ever?
No, you don't.
I mean,
if you
how long? What's and I don't know this because this is striking. How long is the average relationship? I mean, I suppose it could be as long, whatever, right? But I mean, is it 3 months, 6 months, a year? What do you find?
Yeah, I find that 6 months is about a good amount of time, and that just ensures that you are able to start and make something a habit, and ensure that you're maintaining it to make sure that it's not something you're relapsing on. And that it's yours, that it's sticking with you as a lifetime habit for the long haul. So I would say about 6 months, but obviously it varies from person to person and from habit to habit. What is the goal that you're trying to reach? If you're trying to maybe lose weight, for instance, then that might take a little bit more time. If you're
Right.
just working on maybe getting more sleep, then we're looking at maybe a few weeks time.
Okay, so we're not building a codependency here. We're trying to get you to a point where you can do this on your own.
Absolutely, yeah.
That makes complete sense. I like that about you. Yes, it's not a lifetime contract. We want to get you back up. Want to get the training wheels off your bike and have you ride the bike by yourself.
Exactly.
You can do this because we've just discovered that it doesn't take much time and it doesn't cost a lot of money and it's not selfish and it's easy to implement. And you may need a little coaching, and if you do, Jessica's who you call. And it isn't for it is for everyone. Everybody should do that because we would like to perform better, and especially those who are in business and even moms, for crying out loud. If you're a working mom, and you know about that one, working moms, oh my God, you got 2 or 3 jobs combined into one. And so your being able to sustain performance is vital.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And so moms come to you probably stressed out and freaked out and concerned they're not doing enough, as you mentioned earlier, and you have to walk them off the ledge, do you, and calm them down.
Yeah. They and I get it too, because I've been there before. I know exactly how they're feeling, but I can understand the steps that it takes to get to a point where you have better self-care practices. And so yeah, so people come to you in kind of a place of desperation sometimes, but you just, as you said, you just kind of walk them backwards and let them see that you can do it. You have all the tools already within you. Let's just work together to get you from where you are now to where you want to be with the strengths and the tools that you already have.
That's awesome. That is excellent. Jessica, we are out of time. We're going to have to move it forward. So in quick review, self-care doesn't take too much time. It's easy. You should start today, immediately. It doesn't cost any money. You can do all this stuff at home. If you listen to your mother, we wouldn't have this problem. It's not selfish. It's not hard to implement, and everyone should do it. That's our 5 myths. Jessica, if people want to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you? How do they contact you?
Yeah. Well, my website is wellwithjessica.com. I'm also on social media under the same handle, Well with Jessica. And yeah, you can contact me there. And I do a free initial session to that initial session that we talked about. That's free for all of my new clients. So
that's just a flyby to see if Jessica is the right fit. And I'm sure that that's awesome. So that's wellwithjessica.com, wellwithjessica.com. Reach out and get that initial consultation and see if working with a coach is for you. Well, we're going to wrap it right here. I'm going to remind you, if you have any comments or questions, please send me an email at mba@csusb.edu. That's mba@csusb.edu. I'm Ernie Silvers, your host. Thank you once again for being here. That's all. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.